Hey everybody, Royal Alliance UK, Matt Nash here, just waiting on Ant. Hope you're all well. We're going to get started in just a few moments. Thank you for all of your comments. Just while the countdown was going on, many thanks to Jeff Hurley for the $10 super sticker. Much appreciated, Jeff. Thank you again. And Big Aries 70 subscribing at Twitch, tier 1 on Twitch for their 42nd month. Incredible. Thank you so much. Appreciated. Says 42 months. Wow. I agree. Otherwise, comments in the chat. Got Mile Marker, Brent DeWitt, Danny Mac, Contrapastan, and Mike the Marine in the building. Hope you're all doing well. Brent says, for anyone in the chat, Morton left as offensive assistant, Denver passing game coordinator, promotion, lateral move, or other, or was Morton senior offensive assistant? I think passing game coordinator is a promotion.
It's a promotion. That's how we managed to give Hank more money this off season with him getting the OC interviews at Seattle was officially give him that run game coordinator thing, and it counts under the NFL rules as a promotion. So that's how it worked. But yeah, we've seen it happen to other defensive assistants, like the guy we had first year to help AG settle in as DC. I think he then got a sort of promotion somewhere else as a something similar, and then he left us, and the defense got slightly better. So who knows?
Grandizer says, is Asher a new studio?
Yeah, kinda. So people who obviously been listening for a while, well, I mentioned on my Twitter as well. I've now moved back to Birmingham with my family. So yeah, hence the background. It's not as exotic as you guys are used to, which I apologize for. I have got a little thing ordered from Amazon that should hopefully come tomorrow. Stick on the back of my desk chair just so I can green screen it. You don't have to put up a watch in my living room door, my curtains. You have something nice to look at. I might Photoshop myself into different fun places, just to keep the visual interest there for you guys, because I know you don't come for the face, you come for the voice in the background. So
And then Grandizer asks, with all the news on Wilkins coming out, were the Lions even interested in him? When I first saw the story, I thought there must have been character concerns. The more I'm looking at it, the more I think it's hard to know. It
yeah,
seems like it's just a genuine difference of opinion between two on whether the injury should be fixed with surgery or not. I don't think that necessarily gives him character concerns as to whether they were ever interested in him. They signed DJ Reader already, and they have Ali McNeil there, and they have Levi there. I doubt they were ever in for him at the time. If he's available at a discount now, I mean, we have a massive weakness at DT.
yeah,
Sure.
sure. And there is a few connections there. I can't remember if they actually do overlap, but obviously DJ Reader is a Clemson former Clemson interior defensive lineman. So is Wilkins, but obviously that's why the biggest link with him right now, because they do need a bit more help up front on their D line. Their edge room is really good. It's the Giants reuniting him with Dexter Lawrence, who are formidable on that the Clemson defensive line. If we're interested, and it's at a discount, I'd say yes. But yeah, it's hard to say, and we don't really have the best rep with the kind of issue that Wilkins is having right now, because obviously people might remember we had a very similar disagreement with Tyrell Crosby about his injury, and that's what led to him leaving the team and then eventually retiring. So I don't know, maybe give that in the back of his mind. I know it was a couple of years ago. Regime has changed since then. We've got a new strength and conditioning coach and all that. That might play into his mind that we might, again, like the Raiders trying to do, try and get him to get that surgery for his long-term prognosis, and he doesn't want that. He wants to try and play through it, and that's what led to the breakdown. And then yes, there's the reports of he tried to kiss a teammate on the top of the head, and some people took that weirdly. I'm going to be honest. I've done that in a heat in a moment with a couple of my friends on thing. They've done a good play, like they broke up a pass. I think I've gone and kissed them top of the head. It's just a little show of gratitude. So I don't think we'd have an issue with that. It is just the injury stuff and maybe the price, because he is going to command a hefty price tag, and whatever money we give him is potentially money that we can't roll over to next year. It's for the Hutch extension, Brandt extension, Jamer extension, Gibbs extension, so on and so forth, Laporte extension, so on and so forth. And it also might be money that we can't use this year for an Anzalone extension, and so on and so forth.
going to be really interesting to see what happens with the voided money, because the Raiders have tried to void his money, but it's going to all come down to the language in his contract as to whether they can actually void it or not. If they can't, then Wilkins is going to be available for veteran minimum because he's already getting paid by the Raiders' his full contract. So,
Yeah,
if he basically, if that money can't be avoided, will be available on a 1 year mercenary rental where he tries to get a ring in that 1 year before getting paid again next year. So,
a la Russell.
yeah. Yeah, so it's going to be really interesting to see whether he does take like a ring chasing 1 year before then going back to getting paid the year afterwards, because think that could happen for sure.
Yeah, the only issue that maybe goes against the working that out is obviously what we're still technically trying to go through with the Cam Sutton situation, and that was with the whole thing of it being an arrest, and we weren't able to fully sort that out until as of this day. So for something that's more trivial in inverted commas and harder to sort out intent and that, this could drag on for years for the Raiders in terms of voiding his contracts, which will make it more messy for the negotiations.
We never got a resolution on Cam Sutton, have we? We've never heard as to whether we've actually got the money back, apart from the fact I've never seen the money come back yet. So I doubt it's actually happened.
It's the last one of the year, so I've got a month to do. If it hasn't come out by next week, there's my question for the Prada Short mailbag sorted. Thank you for that.
Hey. Big Aries says if he can play for free, then he's going to go to the Chiefs because you can beat the Raiders. Maybe.
Yeah, that's a valid point.
Maybe.
Chiefs. Oh, let me have a look at their depth chart because I know they've got Chris Jones. Who's their other DT? Gonna annoy me now. Who is it?
Ooh. Brett has just said that Treylon Burks has been cut.
Has it? Oh, no. Don't tempt me.
Really? He looks shocking. It's not quite as bad as how what's his face looks at LA. When I was high on him too.
Quentin Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. But the reason I'm saying don't tempt me is because we know this team very much likes those kind of reclamation procs, especially at receiver. Tim Patrick was kind of like that, oft injured. We've managed to get something out of him, but we've been there, done that before.
Sure, we traded for the former Jets wide receiver, though, 7th for a 6th, didn't we? That didn't work.
Dental Mims. Exactly. That was low cost, I'm trying to say. So if we can get Burks in on a min deal, because I think he's played enough years in the league now where his rookie contract's void. I could see the team picking him up if in a couple of weeks he's still available. Actually, no, he's got that injury, hasn't he? So he's probably going to sit around. I can see us next year, maybe, if Patrick gets a payday somewhere and Tez is not exactly 100% net, I could see us bringing him into camp just to, compete for a depth role.
Are you a Treylon Burks fan, Ant? You were?
Oh, hi. How are we all today? We're just going to start off with this stuff right away, are we? Don't even get a hello anymore, just,
I was going to say hello to you when I start recording the show. This is just preamble.
Yeah, I love Treylon. But he was a byproduct of my love for KJ Jefferson, so, people can, it's a real... But I'm disappointed for him with the injury. There's been a lot of injuries to players I like going round in this preseason so far, which is just is not nice.
Is it injury? Is it? It's not him being cut.
It's a collar. Yeah, he broke his collarbone.
He broke his collarbone.
So he's going to be out. He's going to. It's like with Quintez a couple of years ago when we had him. That'll pretty much be his season done. So that's what I'm saying. Maybe next season we bring him in as a. Well, we were kind of high on you a bit. You got the prototypical tools. Let's see if you've still got it in a new system with a QB that can actually throw you the ball.
Who's
the best quarterback he's ever had to throw at him? I'm pretty
Ryan Tannehill.
I'm pretty sure it's the Hamburglar. That's probably where he's been at. So, give him a solid NFL quarterback in a room that can develop receivers.
Yeah.
Which we can. There's something to be had there. They're a trash panda of an organization, so players they let go, probably a lot of them can be reclaimed.
The last time Actually, the last 2 times we claimed receivers from the Tennessee Titans, it's gone well.
Wasn't Khalif from the Titans?
Cleve was one, and the other was Josh Reynolds.
Mm.
Oh, every time we play the Titans, they always give us a run for our money,
Yeah.
even when they're bad. Mason bloody Rudolph every time. He's like poison ivy to us, I swear. So when you play the Steelers and you just want Aaron Rodgers to be fit because you just don't want to face Mason Rudolph.
Oh, I want A-Rod to be fit anyway, because then my boy can kick him off his next team and then hopefully retire him permanently.
How fun would it be if Kirby came on a safety blitz to end Rodgers' career? That would be so fun.
That would be the one time I'd actually call for Kirby to live up to his reputation in the league.
Yeah, just hit him straight in the head.
Yes, exactly. Just
oh, exactly. There's almost no players I wish active harm on, but Rodgers is pretty close to it.
There's another one that we're going to mention probably about 10 to 15 minutes into the.
Are you talking about a certain legend?
A legend, no.
Oh.
Though he does command the middle of the defense.
Oh, I see. You're talking about Cleet Blakeman. I'm not joking. Oh, Jamie Collins.
No. Didn't. Frankie Louvu.
Oh, I don't care about
he might hate him. I have a burning.
Oh, come on. Who do you hate more, Frankie Louvu or Cleet Blakeman?
Both, which is why they both got mentioned in the news roundup.
Ugh. How are you, Ant? You right?
I'm not bad. Not bad at all.
Good, my guy. Okay. I'll say it in a minute, everybody, as well. But this 24-hour show that we're doing, we've got plenty of content ideas and things are looking good. If you have anyone you want to see, if you have connections to anyone that you can put us in touch of, if you have a charity which is dear to your heart, please let us know. We need suggestions, especially for the Detroit-based charity. We've got a UK one all ready to go, but, you know, we're trying to advertise this thing as a charity thing. That's one of the reasons that we're going to be kind of we're going to be ambitious with guests that we might try and get on and sell it in that way. So it'd be good to have a cause which means a lot to a lot of people in our listenership. And otherwise, just hope you can watch. That'd be great. Damien Smith says Correspondence Patterson got cut today.
He did, yeah.
Yeah.
On his day off.
Isn't that every day? It is now. Oh, that feels so mean. I really liked Correspondence Patterson, even when he was playing for the Bears.
One of the biggest draft busts the Vikings have ever had.
Exciting player, though. Mile Mark says Habitat for Humanity of Michigan. I will have to check that out. Thank you for the suggestion. Right, everybody ready?
Recording in progress.
Welcome to another edition of the Royal Alliance UK podcast, episode 351, Standing in the Hall of Fame. My name's Matthew Turner, alongside Anthony Fitzpatrick and Ashley Soden. How you doing, boys?
Doing good. Oh, obviously in new digs, so the acoustics might be a bit off, but excited because, you know, my football fix is nearly here. I have less than 4 days to wait now, pretty much, and I can finally sit there and watch Hendon Hooker absolutely throw all over fools. Oh wait, it's the Chargers' second team. Doesn't really matter. Damn it.
Yeah, it's just good to have football back again. I think, you know, staying up till 4 a.m. watching a meaningless preseason game is the way I want to live life. So, you know, normality is nearly here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Preseason games are like the sweet amber nectar at this time of year before you realise it wasn't even anywhere close to week one. But you know what? I'll damn well take it. Of course, we will be live. Ash, you on it?
Yep.
All right. Thursday night, we will be there. 8 p.m. Eastern, 1 a.m. UK time, all the way through. It's preseason games that probably won't run long, I would imagine. So 4 a.m. UK time, 11 p.m. Eastern, it'll probably finish around there. But should be good fun. Hope to see you there for that. We'll be on the call. Depends whether you like TJ Lang, whether you can stand TJ Lang alongside Jason Benetti. Benetti, obviously an absolute legend. Lang is given that moniker. Anyway, we're also on the calls. If you'd like some alternatives, please come and watch us. Anyway, normal preamble. Discord channel, you know where we are with that by now. I will put a link in the live chat. Be great to see you there. Best time to do it. Start the season's just around the corner. Lots of chat about who and what and where, and we'll cover a lot of that in the show today. Anyway, College Football Podcast and is back on Wednesday. What are you talking about?
So this is the week where we reveal our preseason watch list teams, me and Ryan. 22-man teams, obviously, sort of built on your usual all-star rosters. These are the guys who we properly stand for. These are the ones who generally end up on our mock drafts going into next year or the year after, potentially. So, yeah, tune in for that one. These are the guys we're really big on, and we'll be revealing those. So, yeah, it's always a good show, that one.
Please don't forget to like this episode, sub to the podcast, you guys know what to do by now, and Lions Nation Unite, go and follow them too. Herman Moore's project to bring the best in Lions content creators together. And we're Twitch affiliated, YouTube monetized, tip jar down below, also a feedback form. Be great to hear what you think, or have some support in that way. And finally, of course, we announced it before, but the 24-hour charity show is going to be on August 15th, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on August 15th. And running all the way through to 7 p.m. Eastern Time, August 16. Of course, the Game 1 of Preseason, Game 2 for us, but Game 1 of Preseason will be happening on that... No, Game 2. Correct myself. It is Game 2. I'm not going mad. Game 2 of Preseason will be that day, kicking off at 1 p.m. Eastern, so we'll be live during the game. We're going to have some really good guests. Just had a major beat writer confirm that they're going to be on, which will be great. We should obviously have some friends from Pride of Detroit over. Some former Pride of Detroit hosts will be on, alongside having some really cool segments and bits and pieces. Also, we would love to take some suggestions. I'm going to run one of my world-famous quizzes, which will be good fun. I'm hoping that could be some sort of team event, maybe, where a couple of people go together and try and best the rest. It might equal out Ash's Rain Man knowledge. We should match him up with some dim-witted human being, just to even it out. Anyway, should be good fun. We hope to see you there. Any suggestions for content? Love to hear from you. Right, news. Lions social media team moments ago have released a trailer for the upcoming Inside the Den episode featuring college to pro transitions of the Lions' first round picks under the current regime, an Inside the Draft Room style episode that has been the favourite of the fan base since the team started doing these kinds of videos, well, pretty much from the start of this regime. I mentioned about the play-by-play announcers. Malcolm Rodriguez has posted a video of himself performing cuts. Looks like his recovery from ACL is going well. They've also hosted Kaiser White for a visit last Wednesday. He is someone who provides some backup in case Anzalone can't get things sorted out, although it looks like he has. And Zach Cunningham, who's done very, very well at the will position. Manti Te'o has put Anzalone in his top 10 linebackers, in at 6. Jameer Gibbs has been breaking out some style in training camp with his cleats. Otherwise, some transaction news. Stanley Thomas Oliver, the cornerback, has been gone, waived with injury, replaced by cornerback Nick Whiteside. And finally, women's soccer. England's Lionesses have secured back-to-back European Championships after beating current world champions Spain in a repeat of the World Championship final that England lost, so avenging that defeat. They won in a penalty shootout, having come through the quarterfinals in a penalty shootout and the semi-finals in extra time. In all 3 games, they were behind or significantly behind and came back from a long way behind. So massive props to the ladies doing England proud and doing something the men haven't been able to do for almost 60 years. So, you know, amazing from them. Boys, any thoughts on any of those pieces of news? Thoughts on the soccer? I don't know if you watched it.
Well, I definitely did. We all know what I'm like with sports. And yeah, you've had it right. So the Lionesses, to put it in context, they led in the knockout games, so obviously the quarters and that. They led for a total of 1 minute and won the whole thing. That's how tense it's been. going 120 minutes in all 3 matches. Obviously, the first and last the quarters and the final to penalties as well. God damn it. And then stuff like that. So it came out after the game that our goalkeeper lost their grandfather a couple of days before the tournament. Our right back and one of our team captains was playing the entire thing on a broken tibia and then injured their knee in the semi-final. Just if there's any football team, like soccer team, that embodies the Detroit Lions grit over here, it's the Lionesses, and I'm damn proud of them.
And did you watch the soccer?
No, I was working, so did not have a chance.
That sucks. I don't know if you saw Malcolm's video about him moving, but that's impressive given that he's meant to be out for a little while longer.
He's looking good. Well, both him and Aleem are supposedly further along in their rehab than we hoped, so getting them back, sort of earlier in October would be huge for us potentially. So both critical parts. So it's good to see him running around, moving again, and hopefully he gets going sooner rather than later. It's contract year. We all want him to stay long into the future. Best way you can do that is get back on the field and start producing again. So yeah, it's good to see him doing well, and hopefully, as I say, we see him sooner rather than later. I'm ready for him back. I want to see him back out there ASAP.
Just on us doing our play-by-play, Big Aries has said, I endorse watching the stream whilst watching the live games. I'll come regale the audience with the tale from my journey to Houston last year. And also, we had Mike the Marine say, best play-by-play team ROTL. Thank you both. Appreciate it. All right, we are going to go through some notes from training camp before we talk about pre-season, what we're looking for, when the games are, what the rosters are, who need to do what, roster bubbles, who needs to do bits, who's going to get the reps, position by position, we're going to go through. So some tidbits from the notes by the media. These are all by Pride of Detroit, Lions Wire. We're just taking some highlights. Go and read the actual articles. You know who they are by now. Jeff Risden and Jeremy Reisman and all of those guys there do amazing work. So go and support our writers. Overall, and boys, this was the shock of training camp so far. And I know you were especially mad about this one, that the Lions had to abandon training camp for 2 days straight. I mean, the boys just can't control themselves, can they?
No, it's like the Royal Rumble every time they go out there. It's just people hitting each other with chairs, throwing each other into the stands, and it's manic. It's terrible culture we've got here, and we don't want to see that stuff going forward. We're a professional football team, not a bunch of hooligans. So if we could stop with the violence, stop with training getting cancelled, it would be much better for everyone involved. And shame on Dan for fostering such a bad culture here when it comes to training. It's just, I was completely disgusted with everything I saw in regards to those 2 sessions.
Oh man, I hope everyone can hear the seething sarcasm out of all of us with this. It's shame on the clickbait artists that are out there. Honestly, it is beyond
Not
a
naming
joke.
names, Mike Florio, you absolute joke of a journalist.
He's not a journalist.
No, he thinks he's a journalist. He thinks he's a talking head, but he's really not.
No. He is a talking head. He's not a journalist.
It was funny because in the actual article itself, he retracted his statements, but not on the tweet that led people to the article. It's like, okay, you're going to get people to click on your links and then tell them that what you've wrote is a bunch of bull. Only then, when you've got the traffic to your channel. All the things wrong with sports media these days, hacks like him getting attention and people falling for it, and we just need to stop. It was already out there that training would gone on like normal, and it was just too who hasn't got happens in every sport, happens in Sunday league, the amount of times we get pulled over doing that, because you've done something. Just calm down, lad, fine, you've had a few pints, your judgment's not good, just calm it a bit. Okay, fine. But we all knew And he's out there like, oh no, this is terrible. Like, there's just so much hate towards us this year. Everyone is desperate for us to fail. They're just grabbing on everything they can get at this moment in time.
I thought you were starting to imitate him then, and I thought, I don't think he comes from Yorkshire, but it sounded awfully like it.
I'm sorry, what? You can pause this stream a minute. The people don't need to see what I'm about to say to you. We'll have words afterwards.
Oh, I saw an Instagram post which put up 9 journalist talking head type people, and it says, you can cancel 3 forever, who is it? And I was like, and I know this is the point of the post, I'm like,
just put yes.
All of them need to go. But
how many would you cancel? Yes. Just yes. It's just yes. You don't need to say how many you wouldn't either.
At the end of the day,
I don't know. I feel like my sarcasm goes, yeah, people don't pick up very well on sarcasm over there. So, yeah. For the record, we're not pissed with Dan. Like, training's fine. Some people saw that the training got stopped for a couple of plays and then said, oh yeah, it's fighting. They're all terrible and whatnot. And it's just like, shut up.
Yeah.
5 years trying to make Dan out to be a meathead, and you're not doing it. You're really not.
Yeah. Which is why I will throw props at the Athletic Football Show's Robert Mays, who attended day 1 of training camp and really gave props to Dan Campbell, who he said if anyone's deserved the benefit of the doubt for putting together coordinators making it work, it's him. Which I think is a big quote. And he also says he was massively impressed by Kelvin Shepherd. That is the sort of talking points from a major journalist that I respect. He may not be someone who puts out a huge amount of written material, but he is an elite podcaster for me. And he may not say everything that I agree with, but I respect his opinion because I think he said he's hitting something like 8 different training camps this year. Like, that's insane. So, fair play to him. Anyway, some cliff notes from the rest of the training camp. That was obviously just a glib one to start. Quarterbacks, Carl Allen, Hooker, kind of trading blows between QB2 and QB3, but Carl Allen has dropped the ball twice in a row in drills, which is not a sentence I want to read. Apparently, he's done that before in his career and almost wrecked a center's opportunity to hang on to a team, which is not great. Hooker's having really good days and really bad days, which, again, is not really what you want to read. At this point, he kind of needs to start kicking on. We can talk about that more as we get into the depth chart and looking at pre-season. Running backs, Gibbs and Vacchi are taking some part in wide receiver drills, and Reynolds is separating himself as running back 3 with elite pass pro and with good catches out of the backfield. At wide receiver, the top headlines are J-Mo's receiving praise from all sides. According to Justin Rogers, he's calling him Amon-Ra St. Brown caliber. He's gone from chaotic to precise, mixing up his elite skills with brilliant fundamentals. He is going to be a problem this year, which is the highest praise from one of the best reporters, who I do think Justin has made a bit of a career out of being the more level-headed one, so for him to be a bit over the top is insane. Tesla has made some highlight reel catches. Hopefully that is consistent as well. Hard to tell just from the clips they put up there, but man, the guy can go up and get a ball. Tight ends, Laporte has been an issue in team drills, especially against nickelbacks, and Zylstra has been separating himself at tight end 3. Probably no surprise there, really. And then for the offensive line, Tate Rattler just started camp at centre, but it's been Graham Glasgow the past 3 practices now. And Dan Skipper is struggling at tackle 3, and there isn't anything really behind him, unfortunately. I think the article postulated keeping Jamarco Jones on the practice squad, hopefully, because there's no real prospect of having Skipper fill in at tackle and Manu's not ready yet. Boys, that was the offensive takeaways from camp so far. That's got 5 days worth of notes all wrapped up into those few sentences. And anything sticking out to you out of all of those things that's particularly interesting?
I mean, there's a few. I mean, the quarterbacks don't seem to be doing themselves any favours at the moment, which is concerning, given that we need someone to step up into that role this year. I mean, we literally had an FCS product roll up off the street yesterday, picking him off in the end zone Like he's not even got here and learned to play yet. And he's making some bad throws and getting picked off by guys who've just arrived here. It's year three, man. Yeah, you've got to be showing some consistency at this point, and the fact that's what they hate about him. The fact I think that he's just so up and down, and that like he'll show you one day that's the guy you drafted, and then the next day it's this is the guy that you might have drafted, and it's just the consistency's not there. Obviously, the preseason games will help. If he can perform well in those, it goes some way. Because again, at the end of the day, it is training, it is learning, it is. I don't like to go too far with it with them, but it's not what you want to hear. I think is the big thing there. And like I say, Alan's not really pushing him, so I'd still be looking at bringing someone into that room and trying to kick both their asses a little bit because we're not ready there. And then obviously, the other one you say is tackles. I'm losing patience now with how many years we've been saying that we've just not addressed the tackle position seriously at all. And I don't want to hear shit about Manu. He's a development project, whatever. Risden says he's not even close to coming to performing any football duties yet, which is disturbing. I know he's only going into year two, but in 12 months' time, you want him to be ready. And the fact that after a year and he's night and day better and he's so great and he's been doing all this and that since the day he got here and he's still not even entrusted with the most basic of football responsibilities is disturbing. And if Skip can't do it, who the hell are we fielding there? Jamarco Jones? At this point, I just hope the guy balls out and supplants them both. And we need someone in there. Especially with the fact that we're going to have a brand new interior this year, three guys in who are going to be learning themselves. If one of the tackles gets hurt, what strangle this is going to put on the team. It's just unacceptable, the situation for a Super Bowl chasing team to be so low on. I get there's a lack of NFL caliber tackles out there, but there is also enough NFL depth tackles out there that we should not be in this situation right now. And again, it's just camp. It's a few days. The games are coming up. We may see some things there which will help, but just early observations, they're not what you want to see because these are areas where we need to be shoring ourselves up for this year. We've not had to deal with injuries at quarterback. We've not really had to deal with injuries at tackle so far. That's not going to last. You are not just going to go through every season without any issues there whatsoever. And I just don't want the depth in these positions, which is untested, to be tested this year and struggle like we saw in some groups last year. So those are the two that really stand out in terms of stuff I didn't like to see.
Yeah, I agree. There's been mixed reviews though, because I remember going into the weekend after the first couple of practices, everyone was like, "Oh, this is the best that the backup queue situation's ever been in Detroit." And then it seems after past couple of days, it's kind of cooled off a bit. People have been like, "Actually, no, it's been bad." Obviously, stuff like Kyle Allen dropping the snaps, that's not good. Hooker being up and down. I know he's had a reasonable day today, but you're getting picked off by someone who's barely been on the team. Not good news. It's concerning, especially since today, by all reports, according to especially Jeremy's, where he broke down like each drill bit by bit. Kyle Allen was with the twos, Hooker was with the threes. They might be doing that thing again where they alternate every day, but you'd hope going into a game basically this week. It's a game weekend, a game week, so you'd want the depth chart to be nice and solidified. If Hooker's with the threes, and that means he's going to be getting the second half of the Hall of Fame game, second half of these preseason games. He's not going to be getting the good snaps in the way. That's not good. That's a real indictment on him. So yeah, I'll be looking at the backup quarterback market as well, whether it be the guy that was with the Michigan Panthers, if he's on side, just look around because, yeah, we've been fairly lucky there. Goff's missed a couple of games, obviously, like the Tennessee game where we had to put Hooker in, a couple of games in spin he has been out. We need someone solidified there because, yeah, Teddy Bridgewater, we've got his number. We can't keep pushing that button every time. We need to find a more reliable answer who's easier to get to rather than, "Oh, Teddy, you're suspended from high school coaching. Do you want to come and be our backup quarterback again?" We're running out of chances to use that sort of get out of jail free card. And the same with the tackles, like Skip. We know what we're getting out of him. He's a good run blocker, so in pass pro, really good at the 6 offensive line role, but we were hoping Manu can be that improvement on it. Jamarco Jones, again, you know what you're getting out of him. He's probably the most reliable out of the backup tackles in pass pro, but the team just seemingly doesn't like him. They just don't rate him. They want to go for that upside. And so that means, yeah, he's always on a practice squad. He's always going to be hanging around. But at least there's been good stuff as well. So obviously, Zane Zylstra separating himself at tight end 3 again. Always seems to do this. Always seems to put him down, say, oh, yeah, X person's going to beat him. Last year it's Parker Hesse. This year it was Kenny Yeboah. And he keeps proving me wrong, though it is looking like tight end 4 might be a UDFA with Zach Horton from Indiana getting some brave reviews, especially today at the fullback role. So there's finally someone that, I can kind of stake my claim on and be like, right, there's our fullback, tight end 4, good there. And then just the stuff about JMO, especially today, supposedly his route running's gone from chaotic, kind of like me running routes, to suddenly precise. He knows how to get out of his cuts well and all that. He's going to be like a problem in the best way, not so much a problem of, he can maybe catch a ball, but he's not going to be consistent. He's going to be a problem for all defenses going up against us, because they have to worry about Amarod, they have to worry about Sam Laporte over them, but they have to worry about Gibbs coming out the backfield now. They have to worry about the physicality of Tim Patrick. The fact that now JMO can go deep, keep them defenses honest that way, but can also run the intermediate digs, the drags, the slants, everything. It's going to be so hard for defenses to go up against us and game plan for us, even with a new coordinator.
We've got one question I'm going to mention, but I think we're going to answer it when we get to the position-by-position questions. Mike Marine asks, are we going to have 6 wide receivers that make the 53-man roster? Now, I will preface this by saying we are going to have our 53-man roster prediction soon, August 21st. So we've got about 3 weeks until then. So obviously we could give an answer now and then see whether things change. I have to be held to that. But we can go through position by position, talk about the wide receivers in the room, and then perhaps think about whether that makes sense or not. And one we can answer now. Perry Ball asks, will Kelvin Shepherd, the young DC, have any growing pains? Can our new OC make the offense more consistent? Boys, we kind of talked about this in the off-season, but now we're here. How are you feeling about the new coordinators and whether there is going to be any growing pains?
Well, I think there will be in terms of the actual in-game stuff. So obviously, knowing the game flow, when to call certain plays and that, there's only something that can come with experience. Like Dan's even said when he's interviewed, he's still learning about that stuff. There's always going to be issues with time management and that. But in terms of actual execution, the fact that Shep's been in the building, he knows what he's doing, he's not really changing too much in what the defense is doing. And then same with Morton, like I know he was at the podium today and he was here when we drafted up the offense originally when Ben Johnson came OC, and Goff's got a big part in it as well. There's going to be growing pains in terms of some bad play calls in certain situations wasn't the right play call, but in terms of I'm not expecting to quote a tweet that Ant put in our Discord earlier, and then it's been shared on Twitter as well. I'm not exactly expecting Jared Goff to go from playing at an MVP level to a bridge QB just because we changed coordinators to someone who's been in the building and he's still got all his weapons and that. And I'm not exactly expecting the defense to be as horrific as it has been in the past. Like we have seen some dire defenses and not exactly expecting us to give up 150 rushing yards and 350 passing yards a game. I'm just expecting, it'll be a 3rd and long and Shep sends a blitz and it's the wrong situation. And then Stafford can throw against the blitz and get a massive touchdown. I'm expecting stuff like it's a 3rd and short for us and Morton calls up a pass play to, I don't know, Gibby out the backfield and it's jammed up and we make the wrong decision. We have to punt. That's the stuff I'm expecting growing pains. I'm not expecting massive fall off on either side of the ball.
It feels tougher. Obviously, it feels like there's more pressure on Morton because his unit's kind of ready already. But he's got to deal with the offensive line being a bit funny this year. You're going to have to bypass that to start with whilst it develops. But you've got, as he said, enough playmakers on this team to be able to do whatever you want. I feel like I listened to him today and it's like, I do like what he's going to do. Obviously, I love Ben and what he did here. But Ben had a robotic plan that he stuck to a T, even when it wasn't working. You listen to him and you listen to Morton, it feels like he's really gonna once the dagger's in there and going in, he's really gonna smash a hammer in it and just keep going. He's not just gonna keep doing what Ben did and keep to his plan from before. We've moaned a lot of times in the past that we've not gone hell for leather on some teams when Summit's worked because we've tried to do everything. So I think he's going to be fine. He's got the talent at his disposal already, which is the main thing, which is what really pisses me off when people say we're going to regress. You're insulting our players by saying they can't continue to perform at a high level just because they had an OC babysitting them. That's rubbish. These players, if anything, made the offensive coordinator. And right now you can say it's him, but in 2 years' time we might be turning around and saying, oh, well, geez, look, these players made Ben Johnson, not the other way round. So I think we're going to be just fine there. Kelvin's got the bigger problem in that, he needs to find a way to create meaningful pressure on a quarterback. Meaningful, not this whole blitz heavy thing Aaron used to do. You've got, for the first time in forever here, a back five that can hold on its own. You don't need to mollycoddle them. You don't need to protect them. You don't need to be dropping loads of guys into coverage to help. You've got the potential here to get really nifty up front in terms of, the blitzes you do use, the looks you give. You need to find a way to get meaningful pressure on the quarterbacks. What were 23rd in sacks last year? It's with no Hutch on the field. You've got to find a way to not have it all on Hutch. It's great having a superstar edge, but it's like the Browns. They just rely on Myles Garrett all the time, and the rest is like whatever the hell. They're a middling team because of it. He's got to find a way to finally get meaningful pressure on the quarterback other than Hutch. Can he do it? Who knows? He knows his linebackers better than anybody. Hopefully he's going to find ways to get them more involved in the game, to work them to their strengths. He's got a good D-line coach with him this year, so hopefully they can sit down together and come up with something meaningful. Will Kelvin struggle to begin with? His first time DC? Probably. He's going to learn. There are going to be some savvy offensive coordinators he comes up against early who will, give him a welcome to the NFL moment sometimes potentially. But will he learn and will he adapt very quickly? Yes, he will. So I think with new coordinators, there's always going to be a feeling in period. But I think overall, both of them are going to do just fine. And I think in time, Kelvin will be tremendous and he will get the best out of this team. So I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, there will be some bumps along the way early. And if there are, most important thing is we don't panic. We let the process play out because we gave Aaron 3 years. Eventually that worked. We need to take our time with Kelvin as well.
I'll briefly go out on a limb and kind of be consistent actually with where I've been all off season, which is I fully expect us to be better. None of this regression, Lark. I think the thing is, I don't think freshness, especially when everything basically else has remained consistent, is necessarily a bad thing. I've always maintained that the problem is going to come later in the year, when the initial bag of tricks built now runs out. Can we continue to evolve? But the new ideas that Kelvin has with the basis that's already been created here on defense, I think is going to serve him extremely well. He'll come with a bag of new ideas, be able to fall back on what AG did before, which worked well enough. I don't think there's any reason to think that that shouldn't be better than we expected from the end of last year. And then on offense, he already knows this offense so well. Add in the fact that you trust Goff a little bit more, already know how the tricks go, what happens when they get a bit stale. But there's no reason to think, never mind regression, there's no reason to think it won't be better. But come week 16, week 17, that's what I fear. Can you keep doing it? Especially when the injuries hit and you have to do it with lesser players. Or maybe it's when you get players back from injury, in which case it gets even better. But shh, don't talk about that. They won't like it. Let's talk briefly about defense, because we didn't get there, and special teams. Keith Cooper Jr. stepping up as an interior pass rusher. An outside shot to make the 53-man roster. Perhaps it looked like he might not even sign for the team initially. Gets on eventually, and now suddenly he's making a heck of a bid, especially with the lack of depth at DT. Pat O'Connor looks like he's a roster lock. He's playing consistently with the twos and looks very, very good. And Aidan Hutchinson is back. End quote. Zach Cunningham for the linebackers is making a case for the roster as the Will backup. Apparently he's been playing excellently, which, is great because it really pushes Anzalone. Not that he needs pushing in particular, and he's a top 6 linebacker in the NFL apparently, but having 2 good Wills is no bad thing. In the secondary, Rock Ya-Sin apparently is standing out as depth cornerback, and Eric Hallett, who should have been a safety, is repping at outside cornerback, and he actually picked off Goff in a training session a couple of days ago, so that's really impressive. On special teams, Lovett, the 7th rounder, and Meeks, the UDFA, both impressing on special teams, as well as Tesla and Gunner Drills with Lovett, and Grant Stewart, the do-it-all special teams player and linebacker, is excelling in every phase, including as a punt protector, kick returner, and in coverage teams. Any other thoughts on those, boys?
Useful if I'm muted. I like to see it for Pat O'Connor. Yeah, the fact he's someone he was interviewed a couple of days ago, and he's always got that mentality. He's fighting for his roster spot, but the fact he's repping so high and so well at that sort of free tech 4-eye position and at the big end role, because we don't really have much there, to be honest. It's good to see someone who puts his hard work in, has been around the block, and is now getting his due rewards with it. I know he's obviously got a Super Bowl ring with Tampa, but coming back to his hometown team, he's drafted by us, he played at Eastern Michigan. So it's kind of nice for him to sort of come back home and be well respected. Cunningham as well, I know obviously he was initially signed to be that sort of Anzalone cover while the hamstring injury was going on, while the contract stuff's going on. But the fact is kind of, as I put in the notes, states his claim to really make the roster as the backup at the Will position, because Rodrigo is going to be out for a bit while longer with the ACL injury. And even then, he's contributing on special teams. He can back up the mic as well. Just someone who can be that nice, solid, dependable veteran linebacker that we didn't really have last year, because, well, we all saw what happened. We had a couple of injuries. When Anzalone went down, when Barnes went down, we were starting Ezekiel Turner and all these players, and it wasn't working. So having just that extra layer of defense, like Zach Cunningham's been around the block. Yeah, he's not the best linebacker in the world, but someone you can plug in at Mike, plug in at Will, and he'll do a job. Completely happy with that. And then obviously very happy with Rock Ya-Sin balling out, making his case to stay on the roster as one of the first guys off the bench. It's not called Rakestraw, and Robertson as an outside corner. But also on special teams, he's supposedly balling out as well. So for someone who I've long held a standing for in the league, nice to see him making a good impact on our roster.
And any thoughts?
Yeah, I've not got a great deal there. I mean, for guys like Cooper and O'Connor, show it in the games for me. You ain't replacing what we've lost. This just feels like, show it me in the games. If you can start putting this performance in there, then great. If not, we still need to find better options on the interior going forward. So, yeah, outside of that, it says the depth spots. The secondary depth's very interesting to watch, actually. A lot of guys seem to be making moves. I know Kennelly's been doing well. Hallett's doing well. As I say, Rock Ya-Sin is. I think there's going to be a big push for those spots. It feels already like we're going to be getting rid of a few guys we want to stay who are probably going to end up elsewhere, which is positive because it's one of those areas you want to flesh out the depth a bit. But, yeah, overall, I'd like to be seeing more big names on the D-line making impressions so far, and they're not. That's those who were there. A lot of them are still injured.
A schematic question by Mike says, what do you think of our defense being more 3-4 and hiding where the pressure is coming from, like the Vikings and Flores? Just for me, I don't mind it being a part of our arsenal. I think it does kind of fit us quite naturally, especially with the issues we have at DT and the fact that we are pretty strong at the nose. To actually have a nose out there probably makes sense. Having said that, I think we fabricate that as part of our scheme in 4-3 anyway, with having Barnes being the overhang. Sam, does he blitz? Does he drop into coverage? That 4-3 becomes a 5-2 50% of the time. So yes, but probably not, actually. I think I prefer the flexibility of 4-3 with Barnes on the field than a 5 up front where you probably drop Barnes off to have 3 DTs and 2 edges that are probably predominantly more edges than 3-4 outside linebackers. Because Hutch can do that, but that's not really his bag. And then who's out on the other side? We've kind of got rid of all of our 3-4 outside linebackers. Like, maybe Barnes is that guy, but Davenport isn't that guy. And I don't know, Ash is looking at me like I'm missing someone terrifically obvious, but...
Mohammed is 260. There's actually quite a few of ours, I believe, are...
Oh, I meant someone...
I meant someone like... in there. You could do a lot. You put Hassani in there.
Okay, but...
See, you've not got a 3-tech pass rusher. You just don't. I'm sorry. Anyone can say that Pat O'Connor's... You don't have a 3-tech pass rusher. That sets up better to having a 3-man front, because what you do then, you've got your nose tackle, you can move Tyleek out to the 5-tech if you want to, or you bring Pascal and Davenport in as your big bodies on those plates to put them there, and then you put actual pass rushing threats as your 2 outside linebackers. You put Hassan in there, Hutch there, Barnes there. Our system is suited much better to having 3 up front at this moment in time. 4, where's the pressure coming from on your interior? It's not. And you can't really disguise where it's going to come from either. You do it with the 3, you've got a lot better chance of getting this up and running. And when you've got 3 big beefy boys in the middle there, you bring your linebackers into play as well. So you can do a lot more. Having no 3-tech pass rusher means 4 linemen it's mute at this point for me. Go with the 3 and do it that way.
So I'm kind of in between. I know I've obviously been calling for more odd front since we brought in Casey Rogers, because obviously that's what he's versed in. That's why he coaches a defensive coordinator back in the New York Jets days. That's why he's been running under Todd Bowles for donkey's years. So bringing in that kind of pressure scheme and front scheme, I can see working for us. But Matt is entirely right that quite a lot of time when we're in that base formation, especially when we had Barnes the first couple of weeks before he had his injury, that sort of 4-3 over scheme that we run with Barnes being the Sam, it does lend itself to being a 3-4 kind of base as well, with putting Barnes in a true sort of pass rushing outside linebacker role, to the point where quite a lot of the personnel trackers that I use for my articles and that did list us as a 3-4 quite a lot of the time. Even though technically, if you know the players, it's a 4-3 with Barnes being that Sam outside linebacker, that jack role that quite a lot of 3-4 systems do run, to do the opposite, where they want to sort of show 3-4, but then it's actually a 4-3 and that sort of jack outside linebacker can do the off-ball stuff. I expect a mix where there will be more odd fronts, so 3-4 fronts that turn into 5-2. But I still expect our true base to be that 4-man front, just because of how the sort of relationship between the 2 defensive ends, so Hutch and Davenport, and then our defensive tackles, which will be Reeder and Williams probably right now, how they work, it just lends itself to that 3-4 over, where yes, we don't really have a true option at that 3-tech 4i right now that's of the caliber of Aleem and Levi, but Pat O'Connor, well, yes, it's in camp. He did show flashes of it last year in games as well. And the fact that, yeah, we can use Tyleek there because that's where he's played at Ohio State. At least we do have viable options to continue doing that, because I don't really see the point of completely flipping our scheme back to a 3-4 like we were with the first year. We had Michael Brockers here and all those holdovers from the Patricia regime where we were 3-4. To flip it to that, suddenly we get Aleem back in November. Well, yes, he can fit our scheme. He's shown his improvement when we've gone to the even fronts. We've put him in that 3-tech position in a 4-3 over. That's where he's really excelled. So, well, yes, it'd be good to sort of patch up the holes for now. In terms of long term, stick with what we've got, because then we're not messing with Tyleek's development where he's having to flip from learning one system to another halfway through his rookie season. It'll put Barnes in his best position, because he's been his best when he was playing Sam with us last year in this scheme. It had Hutch as his best when he's got playing that rush end spot where, yes, he can rush for his, from a 2-point stance in a standard position like an outside linebacker does. He can still do the free hand in the dirt stuff as well, 3-point stance as well. He can move inside. So I'm sort of advocating halfway between where, yes, more odd front looking stuff, especially with the stuff that Casey Rogers knows he's doing, works well with the blitzes that Shep supposedly wants to do, but we're still going to be classed as a even 4-3 with the way our personnel is for the most part, just because of how the front usually lines up and how it works best for all our players.
I think the interesting thing, especially with Aleem out until November, is I think that the best case scenario for this team is that Reader and Tyleek works as a 2. Because if that does work, there's more in coverage or there's an extra guy coming on the blitz. Even if, and I think Ant is probably right, schematically 3 down linemen fits better. But if Tyleek and DJ Reader can create interior pressure as a 2, that's the dream scenario. I wasn't that interested in seeing it before Levi went down. Now he has. If that's the dream scenario, I'd love to give it a chance. Just because maybe it probably won't work, because neither of those two so far in their careers have shown the ability to do that. Having said that, from what's been written so far about them, it's taking 2 guys each to block them. They're not being able to be handled one-on-one, either of them. Well, if that's true, you can't put 4 on them too. If that's true, either one of your edge rushers is free, or you have to give up in interior pressure to one of those 2. But it only works if they're both playing with their pair on fire. I'm not going to put it past them. I doubt it works. I want to give it a chance. I mean, even when Aleem comes back, that's probably our dream scenario still, is the 2 of those guys being absolutely on fire, because then you have the ability to rotate anyone you want. So,
exactly.
I want to give it a chance to see what it looks like. Like I say, I doubt it works. Ant is chortling a little bit at me. I kind of am at myself a little bit. I
want to see it because it's not going to work. That is some of the soundest logic I've heard.
I didn't say it's not going to work.
You're literally putting a guy, Reader's never had more than 3 sacks in his career, and you're putting him with a 330-pound rookie at D-tackle, and you're just expecting something out of them immediately.
That's not what I said. I just said I want to see...
You said if you can get some pass rush, it's like, you know you're not going to, but, oh, well, let's try it in the first place.
Interior pressure doesn't mean interior sacks, though.
Exactly.
Yes, but it didn't work with Aleem and Reader last year, did it? And Aleem's actually good at his job there, so we're just going to go back to the same old drawing board and expect to do it with a rookie.
Reader's fit now, though.
It did work because the entire point of our scheme is to free up Hutch, and before he went down, it was working pretty well for him. I know, obviously, then you are counting on that continuing.
You're counting on Hutch being fit all season.
Which is true. Davenport looking healthy. You've got Hassani now, who can be that designated pass rusher. There's all the reports that we're still hanging around with Zadarius Smith. He's still hanging around. If we bring him in, if we need him. There's another guy. Nate Lynn's getting some rave reviews about O'Connor can play the big end. You've still got Pascal come back, which, yes, is not exactly a sack getter, but he can be that can crush on the other side. That is the role that Davenport plays and the big end plays. There's enough there that, yes, while we're still counting on Hutch to be healthy, we've shown now with the production that Hutch got, and in the production that Zadarius got, he didn't exactly, not do anything when he was here. We've shown that when we put a good enough player in that role that's designed to be the standout, well, yes, Reader's not going to get many sacks. He might get 1 this season. Tyleek probably will get 1 sack this season because of how our interior pressures works. But for Hutch especially, but then Davenport, if he's healthy, and whoever's playing those edge spots, because interior pressure is flushing the QBs, the running backs to them, they're going to rack up stats. Hutch is probably going to win if he stays healthy for all the games, or even if he misses 1 or 2. He's probably going to win comeback player of the year, defensive player of the year. Davenport, if you can get him healthy for half the season, he's going to have, for his standards, a career season. And then whoever rotates him with them, Hassanin, he'll get some good matchups. If it's a third and long, let's say 3rd and 15, just stick him out there. This
is if you want to put a load of can crushing, non-pass rushing edges with a load of guys on the interior who are not going to get pressure there, then that's fine. But
it's the same with
asking Hutch to do it all. Because if you've got 3 men up front, okay, Tyleek's going to take 2 men, Reader's going to take 2 men. You're going to bring Davenport inside, who's going to create. It's going to give you outside linebackers 1-on-1. Hutch, Hassanin, make guys easier for those guys who actually can rush the passer here. We're just going to run back the same thing that did not work when Hutch went down last year. There was just so little pressure coming at all, and we're going to do it with lesser D tackles and we're going to expect Davenport to be healthy. We're just going to expect them all to suddenly be great after they've not. Something needs to change, and we need to try something different.
But in the same token, once if that does too, yours is predicated a lot of if. What if moving us to a 3-4 allows those one-on-ones? What if getting a third D tackle who you've just said by your arguments, we don't have many good D tackles, so surely put another one in the field. Well, yes, it opens up one-on-one to the outside by chance. If that third path DT, which right now looks to be either Pascal or Pat O'Connor, who you've said Pat many a time you don't really believe in Pascal much longer for the roster, and Pat O'Connor, you don't believe it right now with him, despite him showing it in camp in these roles that you're kind of going to be asking him to do in a 3-4 front anyway, that sort of Logan Hall role that he plays in Tampa. It's a lot of ifs with that as well, because you're expecting suddenly a schematic change, which the team hasn't done for a good couple of years. Quite a lot of these players have grown to be their best in a four-man front. You're suddenly expecting a complete change of scheme, which won't fit half these players because they were drafted for the 4-3 that Glenn and now Shep's going to run. It's not going to work, especially since then you're suddenly asking, you've got two linebackers, you're putting a lot more on Campbell and Anzalone's plates. They're going to have to do a lot more. And we've seen what happened last year when suddenly Campbell was having to do a lot and he was having to cover a lot more ground. It doesn't really work. Anzalone probably will work in it, but he's also played all his career in pros in a 4-3. He's used that will spot. Asking him to then suddenly change his responsibilities is going to make it hard.
These are veterans. We're making it sound like they're completely incapable of doing something different here. Yeah. Like, it's not the case. These guys, we talk about positional versatility for all these guys. Pascal can slide in and out. Davenport, okay, if they can slide in and out, they can damn well play in a 3 if they can play in a 4. You've got more guys suited to be, you've got D tackle depth here if you want to move guys around a bit. You've got guys on the edge. You can utilize these guys and try and make better matchups here, but we're just going to go with the same old thing again. That, okay, let's let Hutch do it all. It's just... and hopefully we're not going to have the injuries of last year. A lot's put on Campbell, no Malcolm, no Anzo for a while. Literally, that linebacker room went down to who the hell were we putting out there last year at linebacker in a lot of these games? No Barnes in there. You've got to try something different with them, and that's why we keep changing over. It's just not worked. We've consistently struggled to get to the quarterback for years and years at this point now. We stopped the run fine, but it doesn't really matter if you're getting thrown on all the time.
Stop. Good. Got a comment in a minute. As always, the truth is probably somewhere in the middle of both of you. Don't agree with you, Ash, that Anzalone is going to struggle to change to an odd man front when really in a 5-2 you're probably playing Mike Will, and really it's not fundamentally massively changing responsibilities. Equally, I don't think the idea of Pat O'Connor being a full-time starter is a good idea, and I don't think the open market has anyone better. So I think you both have flaws in your arguments. That's the point of all of this. To that point, Mike the Marine says, this is why I love Raw the Lions. Creative discussions, not yes men agreeing with the media, in a $50 super chat. Thank you, Mike.
Right.
Appreciate that so much. That's awesome. As Ash downs his drink. Thanks, Mike. That's awesome, man. Appreciate it.
$50 deserves that.
Appreciate that.
Wow. Very much. And this is the fun of it, because we don't agree. We have fundamental differences, and probably they're not even that fundamental. It's nuanced in some cases, but it's fun to talk about this stuff. Let's talk about preseason and move on from this little discussion. So, preseason starts on Thursday. Why have I not put in the bloody days?
For God's sake.
I managed to put the start times and not the days.
Idiot.
I am a Wally. Chargers Hall of Fame game Thursday night, as I mentioned before, 8 p.m. Eastern Time kickoff in Canton, Ohio. I know that quite a lot of the viewership are going to be at the game at Canton, Ohio, so I hope you have a fabulous trip out there. Game 2 is at the Atlanta Falcons on August 8th. Kickoff at 7 p.m. Eastern. Can we get a regular time to watch these games when some people have work in the morning in the UK? Anyway, Game 2 is at home against the Miami Dolphins, August 16, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you for the good time. That follows joint practices, which are going to be on August 13. I hope you are going to be at training camp for that day because, man, that's going to be fun with the Dolphins. And then Game 3, again at home against the Houston Texans, August 23. 1 p.m. Eastern kick again, with joint practices on both August 21 and 22. We know the Texans bring it, and the coaches there have a mutual respect and play the game in a similar way. So that's going to be really good fun. Let's go through the roster. Let's have a look at the depth chart, and let's talk about particular camp battles that we're looking at roster bubbles, who needs the reps, who's going to get the reps, what we're looking for an individual player that we'd like to pick out, whatever you guys want to take away from this. Let's go through, starting at quarterback with Jared Goff, Hendon Hooker, and Kyle Allen. Boys, mixed reviews from Hendon Hooker and Kyle Allen. And what do you want to see in preseason? Does Goff play any reps at all in preseason? And who do you want to see be QB2? Are you interested at all in Kyle Allen?
I don't have a preference for QB2. All I want is to see one of them take an opportunity. And, I want to see some consistency. I think that's the big word with them. Like, both of them have been inconsistent in camp. That's why Hooker's never got QB2. That's why everyone who's ever tried to go after his spot hasn't quite made it either. So I'm purely looking for some consistency. You want to see clean, clear execution of the plays. Hopefully whoever's at center, whoever plays snaps well for them. You want to see confident decision making, throwing it away if they're in danger, making some good throws. I just want to see consistency in the play. You're looking at the techniques here. Is one of them going to stand up and really, really get that spot for themselves? Because as far as I'm concerned, it's open season. If Allen wins it and Hooker gets the boot, I don't care. If Hooker gets it and Allen gets the boot, don't care. I just want one of them to really stand up and show that I'm ready to take the field if Goff gets hurt. Because again, we've been incredibly lucky with Jared's health over the years, and it's thankfully something that hasn't bitten us. We've seen the amount of starters around the league that have gone down. So, yeah, I'm just looking for consistency from these guys here. I want to see them both given an equal opportunity. I don't want to see another quarterback on the field at all. One half for each of them. Give Kyle Allen the first half of one game, give Hooker the first half of next. Let them, as Ash mentioned, get the quality reps in there. Give both of them a chance to have the quality reps. See who does. And then by the time you get to preseason game 4, I would like then to see one person get the lot and have won it and then be there to be that QB2. I think 3 games and all of training camp is going to be enough for them to make a decision on who it's going to be. And if they're still staggering by then, I'm going to be worried.
Yeah, I pretty much agree. My only thing is I would be a bit upset if Hooker isn't the one that wins the battle, because I don't want to say it's a wasted draft pick, because I know we got the pick that we got him from all the trading back of that. But the team has invested now 3 years of development into him with the promise. Obviously, I know he was an older rookie and all this, with the promise that he would at least turn out to be a league average backup. And if he hasn't won that sort of QB2 job by now, going into year 3 or 4 of his rookie deal, it'll be a letdown. The fact that we've had to turn to veterans pretty much every single turn, it means that next off season, he won't be here. We're going to have to invest again in the backup quarterback, whether it be a veteran round to someone who's a bit more well-known and reliable, or we go back into the draft and we draft another guy for that. So I really do want it to be Hooker, just for his own sake, because if it doesn't work out here, he's probably going to turn into one of those training camp arms that goes around the league every year. And he's in camps for teams, but never really catches on, a la Jake Fromm last year, who I know stayed on our practice squad for last year, but that's all that happened. He looked good in some of the preseason stuff, but that's all we really saw of him. This is Hooker's last chance now, and I really want to see him just come and take the job by both hands, which by some reports is happening in camps, by other reports, and other days it's not. So I want him to start the game on Thursday night, get that first half. I know it'll be against the Chargers backups as well, and he'll be playing with a weak offensive line and all this, but I want him to start off, and I want him just to take it by both hands. So yeah, when it comes to game 4 against the Texans, against a team that plays pretty much like we do, has the same kind of mentality, hopefully he's won the baton. He's got most of the reps there, because otherwise, yeah, it's a another dire backup quarterback situation, and it's a complete reset of that sort of position behind Goff next off season, which pushes us back a bit. I just want that little bit of certainty there, and hopefully that's Hooker.
Kyle Allen is a replacement level quarterback. You can find as good as Kyle Allen right now. So I don't give a shit about Kyle Allen. I just don't. If Hooker doesn't make it, I wouldn't be surprised if we replaced both of them. It's not Kyle Allen's to win. It is Hooker's to lose. So give Hooker every rep. Don't play Allen. What's the point? He is not turning into a viable NFL quarterback. He's just not. Try him or try a UDFA. I don't care.
Yeah.
But it's give Hooker every rep and then fuck both of them off if it doesn't work. Running backs. Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, Craig Reynolds, Sione Vaki, Kyle Robichaux, and Jabari Small. And I'll throw in Zach Horton here, fullback, H-back. Fills in at tight end sometimes, but probably mostly in at fullback. Ash, to come to you first. And briefly, because we've got a long depth chart to go, what are we looking for here from the running backs in preseason?
Well, obviously we won't see Monty and Gibbs or likelihood, so I want Reynolds to at least show that he's just stay that level consistent, but I really just want to see Varkey really take that next step out running back, really make a case to push Reynolds off the roster as a running back 3, or at least put up a good fight and still be running back 4 and a special teams demon. Or, one of the guys behind if they can really show out full player play to him, but just want to see it be Varkey and someone else. I don't want him to be knocked off by one of the UDFAs because that'd be a real disappointment. I really want him to see him pushing Craig now because he's got the athleticism to do it. Let's see it happen.
And
yeah, this is all about Reynolds and Varkey. I think really you want to see those two step up and establish themselves as the depth on the roster. Now, obviously, Craig seems to be, by all accounts, doing his job, especially with the pass blocking stuff, which is what he's in there for. But I mean, Varkey, it's year 2 now, and traded a lot to get you, boyo. We've made a lot of development picks in the draft in the last few years, and we now need to start seeing some of these pay off. So you would hope Varkey will now start to establish himself and be able to get himself some good reps. You want to see more what he can do at running back. We want to use more 2-back sets with Monty and Gibbs. That helps if Varkey comes through and can take some of the load off them when they're not both in there together. So this is all about Varkey now and him established. I think Reynolds will be in, but it's about the Varkey show. Maybe Robichaux comes in and, I give him a little go as well, see what you've got. At worst, you're going to keep him on the practice squad. Maybe he makes a little outside dart for somebody if he really does well. I don't know, but I think this one's very simple.
Yeah, it's all about Vaki. Reynolds is in. The only other thing I'm interested in is can Horton get onto the roster? Because this team has proven before that it likes utilising a fullback if they can provide enough value. Horton apparently has been an absolute beast. He has all the way through his career. Can he show enough as that guy who can do pass pro, can come out of the backfield and do that thing too? Can he show enough on special teams? I believe he can. Will he? Don't know. But I'm praying for him because the Lions' offense looks so much better when a fullback is actually playing fullback and not it being Sam Laporta or Brock Wright, who are just better tight ends than they are fullbacks. Anyway. Moving on to skill position players on the offense, outside of running back. Wide receivers, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, Tim Patrick, Dominic Lovett, Khalif Raymond, Isaac Teslar, Tom Kennedy, Ronnie Bell, Malik Taylor, Jacoby Kinney-James, and Jackson Meeks. A long list of 11 in there for you boys. And to come back to you first, what do you want from the wide receivers this preseason?
I think everybody after, Raymond, Amon-Ra, and J-Mo, I think is probably fair game to go out there and get a lot of reps. Tesla should play as much as he can. He's too raw a prospect to miss out on opportunities in these games to really, you don't really get the feel of it until you're in a game sitch. And, even if he gets a ding or something, your wide receiver room's that strong already. You can cope without that. I just think he's going to benefit more from playing. And then outside of that, you know, you're fighting for depth spots there. There's a lot of guys who are impressing. A lot of these depth receivers are doing well on special teams, trying to fight their way onto the roster that way. You just want to give a good open competition here, because more than anywhere, this is probably where you can stash a guy or two who might not quite be ready just yet, but because of the guys you've got, you can keep them, you can develop them, get the best out of them. So yeah, you don't want to see your top three. Outside of that, fair game, let them go for it. Give Hooker and Allen some legit targets to throw. I don't let them just throw at a load of UDFAs and scrubs. You want to give them a chance to succeed as well. So it goes hand in hand.
Ash?
Yeah, pretty much. For the top five will not play. Obviously, that being Jamo, Amon-Ra, Khalif, and Patrick. I just want to see Tesla take the majority of snaps at the X, just getting that game reps at that role. Meeks will obviously be behind him. But yeah, the big one is the battle between Meeks, Lovett, and potentially Keeney James for that last potential wide receiver spot, wide receiver 6 on the roster / practice squad stash, because we get with Tom Kennedy. Bell and Taylor basically to play Z in the preseason games. They're not really threats to the roster, barring something amazing. It's down to the 7th round pick and the 2 DFAs. Who can show out the best on special teams? Who can show the most on offense? Because you might earn yourself a bottom of the roster job there if you can do well. So those are them 3, and then Tesla are the obvious ones to watch.
It all comes back to the question of how many wide receivers do we take that was asked by Mike earlier on. If we take 5, I don't really care about the wide receivers in preseason because none of them are making it.
Mm-hmm.
If we do take 6, and I think we take at least 6, if I'm honest, I think we have an outside shot to take 7. If we do take 6, then Lovett is clearly in the box seat for number 6, and he's probably up against Meeks and Keeney James for that role. So give me all the reps by Tesla to get him time, and then Lovett, Meeks, and Keeney James. I don't care about Malik Taylor, Ronnie Bell, or Tom Kennedy. Not particularly. If they shock me, great. But it's all about those young guys, those 4 rookies. Give them as much time as possible. And then, Ant's right. You don't want the quarterbacks throwing to 4 rookies. So it's important to give some time to some pass catchers out there. You don't want the most reliable pass catcher out there to be Shane Zylstra, who is a great pass catcher, but that's not giving the quarterbacks the fair shake that they need. So you're probably going to see, I don't know, a little sprinkling of the first teamers to get some reps out of it, but probably not much. And that's just going to be unfair on the quarterback, and that's going to be shit for them. But hey. Final offensive player that isn't offensive line are the tight ends, Sam Laporta, Brock Wright, Shane Zylstra, Kenny Yeboah, and Luke Deal. Ash, what do you think?
Well, again, top 2 aren't going to play. We're getting there. Zylstra's pretty much a roster lock at tight end 3. So what can Yeboah, Horton, and Deal really show in terms of making it as that tight end 4? Because that's, for me, that's where it is. It's either do you take a 4th tight end who can do some H-back stuff like Horton, or be a good blocker like Yeboah or Deal, or do you take that 6th receiver who does a bit more on special teams? That's where the battle is. So hopefully, Zylstra can just be that reliable guy, really lock up that tight end 3, and then just, if you want something out of the tight end room, Horton probably is the one to watch, is to say, can he show stuff in line as well as being that fullback to make that push, and then some stuff on special teams to push to be tight end 4, number 52, 53 on the roster over, say, Dominic Lovett, or does he kind of play him out? And then, that makes the decision to keep a Lovett, a Meeks, a Keeney James around for special teams a lot easier for you.
And
I mean, for me, I just think you let Kenny Yeboah and Shane Zylstra go at it and see who emerges out the top. Give the quarterbacks 2 solid options to have a go after, see which one, it's tight end 3 at the end of the day. So let those 2 fight it out, give Horton a chance as well. Give them all. I think outside of the top 2, you let the rest of them play. And, hopefully Shane, again, shows the resilience he has to keep his roster spot here. But if Yeboah wins it, I don't think I'm too upset. He's got good NFL experience. If he's willing to roll up his sleeves and battle for a spot here, then it's only good for you for your depth. So yeah, just let them all go for it outside of Wright and Laporta and see what they get and see what they give to you.
I think this battle is over for all intents and purposes. I'm not watching it. I'm not watching for it. Put Horton in at tight end for a bit. See what happens. Because if you've got him in at fullback and he can flex out to tight end and that's a feather in his cap, brilliant. But it's the only way this battle is relevant to me. Short and sweet. Offensive line, starting 5, Decker, Mahogany, Ratledge, Graham, Glasgow, and Sewell. Obviously, Ratledge, Glasgow, TBD on where they're going to be. Backups, Manu, Fraser, Colon, Arashika, Skipper. Not in the right order, but never mind. Jamarco Jones, Natane Muti, Kingsley Agwakin, Michael Neese, Colby Sawsdall, Mason Miller. Won't be surprised to see none of those starting 5 at all, I think, boys. But from the backups, what do we think? I forget where I'm meant to go now. I think Ash.
I'll go first. Battle for left tackle with Manu and Skipper. Let's hopefully see Manu actually do well in some game reps. Otherwise, Skipper going to be there. And then it's like just that battle for the backup on the interiors because Oguraku, Nice, and Nietzsche, I know Colon will all get reps at centre probably, but then they'll also get some reps at guard. Can Natane Muti and Arashika to kind of vet the pure guards stick out here? I know Muti's basically just been playing second team left guard all pre-season and the training camp, which to say, I told you so, I've been standing him for a while. Can he really make himself excel in that role? Can Arashika show why they've kept him around? So for me, it's that left tackle position, who can really stand out there, and then just about interior, who can really show themselves as worthy of being on the roster as the backups rather than just being another practice squad option. That's what I'm really looking for. So right tackle, don't really care about. It's right guard to left tackle I'm looking at.
I mean, you're looking at this point, tackle for me is open. Give Jamarco Jones as much of the time as you can possible. Get him to put some pressure on some of the guys above him because they're not impressing. And you've got to get Skip and Manu out there as well, and you've got to see what they're capable of. If they're going to struggle in these preseason games, it's going to be tough. And then it's just depth all over the line. You want to give guys like a Guacan a chance. You want to give. It's a shame Fraser's not healthy. You'd love to see him out there playing. Nice, guys like that. There's a lot of talent on there. Hell, put Awashika in as well if you want. Just say, look, we know you're kind of the best of the best here, but assert yourself, give a little bit of strength to whatever that interior is going to be. I mean, from the way Morton was sounding today, I think you might see a bit of Tate at some point. It sounded like he was going to play him a bit.
Okay.
Because he said you've got to ask Dan where he's going to play in the Hall of Fame game. I mean, I'm all in favour of just giving the rookies at least a few reps in preseason. I don't want his first game action to be, especially if he's playing centre. I think you've got to try and at least do a little bit with him. If you want to see him snap, I know you've got the joint practices and everything, but I kind of want to see him snap a little bit. If he's going to fuck up his snapping, do it in preseason. And of course, we know you'll be watching the snapping very closely, so that's what you want there. But if I'm being truly honest, I would like to see the 3 interior guys out there. Just for a little bit, just to create a little bit of cohesion with him. Because we forget, Mahogany's played 2 career games. He didn't have a preseason last year. This is the first time he's going through it. First off. I just think you need a little bit there. But for the most part, it's going to be trying to find the depth behind these guys. I just would like to see the interior just a little bit. And hell, that gives Manu and Sawsdall. I don't even mention Sawsdall. Fuck it. I put Sawsdall at right tackle for a game or two and say, look, this is your last chance. You're done. You're toast if you can't come in and look some of these guys better. Because he's probably going to be the first choice right tackle on the depth if Penne's not playing. Unless Jamarco's going to play that. I don't know. It's the tackles I want to see. I play Jamarco at left tackle, Sawsdall at right tackle a lot, and say to both of them, look, we need tackles. You go out there and win these spots, and you give me a headache about who I'm going to take with, because, again, I'm just really not happy with it.
Yeah, I'm all about giving up on Skipper as a tackle. He's a 6th man, and that's okay. And can he carry that or not? Don't know. That's a decision for cut down day. but don't waste your time trying him at tackle anymore. I don't get why he's even doing it at the moment in camp.
No.
Sorry.
It depends what you do with Fraser here. I'm all for putting Fraser on the practice squad if he ain't going to be ready till September, but you can't carry Fraser, you can't carry Manu, you can't carry Skip.
Fraser.
Again, this is the same argument from last year.
Fraser will be gone. Fraser will be
Probably.
gone.
Yeah, you can only carry so many guys with your first string offensive line, and this is where you have to make the careful consideration with it. So, like, a lot of it will come down to that, but yeah, we need to be moving on from Dan if we're going to be serious about doing this in the long term.
Frankly, I think that you can use one of his year 2 IR spots on him to return for pre-cut downs.
Yeah, NFI, I was about to say, it's very likely that Fraser will go into NFI, so that makes it a bit easier in terms of making this decision, because, yeah, if he was healthy, he'd probably be one of your 10 to go into the O-line. With him out there, opens up a spot for an Awashika, a Naguika, and a Muti, a colon to make it.
Yeah, just for me, I'm looking at like Ant Jamarco Jones in particular. Otherwise, I have some interest in seeing if Colon can do something. He's played significant reps in the NFL. If you want backup interior offensive line, he's your guy. So let's see if he actually works in the system. We've done the offense. Time to go to the defense. Just by the way, I say that I think you can use one of your 2 spots to return on him. I think that you probably say that you have Aleem as one, Fraser as the other, and then you carry Wingo with him hoping to return shortly after the season starts.
I mean, you've got Malcolm as well. I'm not putting Fraser over Malcolm, sorry.
No, but I mean, I think you carry Malcolm too, even injured. I think often the Lions have been so keen to carry only 52 that if the 53rd's injured, I don't care.
You can use the NFL. So as I said, you can use the NFL. That's what we did with Mahogany last year. So while it doesn't have to use one of those IR spots, then it's like with the PUP where you put them on it at the end of
you have to move cut downs. The first 4 games.
Yeah, you only missed the first 4 games. It could be that you put Fraser on, then he doesn't come off till when he's supposed to. You could keep him on. I think it's just you're not using up on your IR spots then because it's a non-football injury because it happened not on a team facility. It's a good roster workaround to then not use one of those IR spots. You can use it for Malcolm. You can use it for unspecified player who might get an injury in the preseason. We need to do it on like we did with Broderick last year. It's a good way. So, NFI for Fraser, IR for right now, Aleem and Malcolm, but there's flexibility.
All right. Flipping over to the defense, playing it says base 4-2, but that's not quite accurate, is it? Base 4-3 for the Lions at the moment as it stands, with the 4 down linemen starters being Hutchinson, Reader. I have the IR guys in here as well, but I'll skip over that. Reader, Tyleek Williams, and Marcus Davenport. Backups, Pascal won't be fit. Roy Lopez and Al-Qadim Mohammed. Isaac Okwu, Broderick Martin, and Ahmed Hassanin. Mitchell Agude, Pat O'Connor, Miles Adams, Nate Lynn, Keith Cooper Jr., Chris Smith, and Raekwon Williams. And to come to you, what do you want to see from some of these guys? We've spoken about, the effective weakness in the rotation. Well, this is it right here. So what do you want to see from some of the depth guys?
I mean, it's mainly the edge room you're looking at here. I know I'll not get my wish on this, but as far as I'm concerned, not a single one of them should just be allowed through preseason outside of Hutch. And obviously Hassanin is a rookie, but you want to see him play. But Davenport didn't play preseason last year. He's not earned the right to not play in preseason for that spot. I mean, obviously Pascal, if he was healthy, I'd be asking the same thing of him. But I think you've really got to throw a wasp in the hornet. You've got to really throw something in the hornet's nest here. I want to see Hassanin given a lot of reps in preseason. I want to see him be given his chance, like Malcolm did. Like Malcolm got a lot of reps in preseason to show that he could do it in the team. I really want to see Hassanin given a lot of reps and the opportunity to do so. And if he performs well, and if he looks good, he'd be given the opportunity to fight for a starting spot week 1. That's what I want to see. Obviously, I assume Mohammed has not been training. We're not going to see much of him. It's a shame. We're missing so many of these guys who I'd love to see out go and get full preseasons, which is tough. then we'll look outside of that. Is Nate Ling going to do well? Is, all the depth guys we had from last year, Mitchell Agude, they're still hanging. They're still here. Can they force their way into this conversation? Because I think a lot of those spots should be open, and that's the one where I'm most happy to throw some grenades into and see what you can do with. So I'm interested to see what happens with that, but Hassani more than ever. On the interior, I mean, it's very tough because you figure you do have a lot of your starters in there, but I guess it's, again, trying to find maybe some depth in there. I don't know if you're going to play anyone very much. Again, I would just like to see Tyleek play a little bit. I'd like to see him just wet his beak, per se. I think it's better when the rookies get to do so. Outside of that, I mean, I don't know. Do I give Lopez some? Maybe. He's going to get the roster, but again, I'd like to see some of these guys play. Again, you've got a new defensive coordinator. You want to see some of these guys getting acclimatized themselves to it. I guess it is just kind of depth again in the interior, but the edge is where I'm looking at. And again, I think if you're giving free pass to anybody, that's just wrong. You've got to earn your way up to this roster, and none of them have done it so far. So let's see what they can do.
Ash?
Unfortunately, I think Davenport will be sat because the team sees the joint practices with the teams as the way to get the start of these kind of reps. So we, like with the offense, where we won't see Goff, we won't see Taylor Decker, we won't see Penne, we won't see Amon-Ra, J-Mo and such. We won't see Hutch, we won't see DJ Reader, and we won't see Davenport. We will see Tyleek. I've got him, spoiler alert, people in our Discord know I am writing an article about who I expect to get reps where, etc. Nice little depth chart and everything for your visual aid. Williams is for me is the starter at the Free Tech 4i right now for us. Get him his reps there because while he's played at Ohio State, get him those NFL reps, get him up to speed. But yeah, it's everyone else. So O'Connor, can he show it at the big end spot where I've got him starting right now and then being the backup at that Free Tech role? Can he show enough against NFL competition to win his roster spot there? What does Roy Lopez look in our scheme? Because yes, I know he's been injured, but if he's healthy, I'd like to see him play those one tech role. If not, last chance in for Broderick there. At the left end, the rush, what I call the rush end, Mohammed, who did come back to practice today, what does he look like there? What does Hassani look like there? And yeah, who can stick out of the other guys between Nate Lynn, who's getting rave reviews like he did last year before he got hurt, Agude, who everyone knows I was standing for, Oku, the athletic project out of Ole Miss. What do they look like? And then, yeah, can Keith Cooper continue on as the third string free tech and then the sort of last guy up as well at the big end? What does he look like? Because he's one of the UDFAs, especially on the defensive side, that's really making a case to be on the 53 right now. What does he look like when we actually get to see it with our British eyes rather than training camp stuff? So yeah, again, it's mostly depth battles and what does Dirk Williams look like in this free tech role in the NFL in our scheme?
I'm in two minds about this group because I don't know how much some of these guys have to prove. I'm over Broderick Martin. I'm over Pat O'Connor. He is who he is, and he showed some things, but I don't think he's going to show more than some things. I'm over Miles Adams. I'm over Chris Smith. I'm kind of over Agude and Ukwu and Lynn. So, I don't really know who Raekwon Williams is, if I'm honest. So give me some Al-Qadim Mohammed to give me a bit more faith, because I think he showed more than I saw from Pat O'Connor in flashes. And show me Keith Cooper. And then get Tyleek Williams reps. I don't care about the rest. Get Keith Cooper that spot on the roster. Hassani in too. Excuse me. Missed that as well. Hassani needs every single rep he can get, because if he can get to the point where his run stopping ability is passable, he becomes instantly a really, really viable guy. I did get worried when you guys were arguing earlier on, talking about Hassani as if he's a viable guy right now, because I hope so. But the fact that we're even talking about him in the same breath as being edge 2, 3, 4 is super worrying. But anyway, he can put all that to rest by being an absolute beast. So
I mean, it's truthful though.
Yeah, that is the worrying thing. It is truthful.
It's truthful. Malcolm did it. You know, these guys, if they've got the will, there's no doubt in his determination to do so. As I say, quite frankly, some of these vets are just completely lazy and just don't pull their weight round here. So why not? Why not? It could be the season of Hassanin. It would be great.
All right, moving on to the linebacker core. Starting with the Mike Jack Campbell, Will, Alex Anzalone, and Sam Derek Barnes. Behind them, obviously, Rodrigo is injured. We have Zach Cunningham, Grant Stewart, Trevor Nowaski, Anthony Pittman, Ezekiel Turner, Daron Gilbert. Where am I going? Who's first? I've lost track. So it should be Ant, I think.
I mean, I feel like everything's pretty much sorted here for the most part. Like, there's nothing I'm really interested in at all. I think Stewart's going to make the team, obviously. Obviously, you take Barnes, Cambo, Anzalone, Rodrigo you'll save a spot for coming in the year. Zach Cunningham, if he carries on looking good, then great, take him. Outside of that, I'm going to be honest, I don't really care. It's just really deep depth spots there. And then obviously when Malcolm comes back, whoever's there will be ejected out the team. So, yeah, just they can do whatever here. I'm probably the position group I'm least bothered about out of any of them.
I'm still interested in tiny bits. So can Cunningham, I know she would probably be the shoe-in right now at Mike in terms of playing because Campbell and Manzo aren't going to play. Can Cunningham show enough then? Because I know he's getting majority Will reps right now in camp. Can he show some Mike stuff in games? And honestly, the battle between Nowaski and Pittman at Sam's also interesting to me because we know Barnes probably won't play. And honestly, that's a position that's still up for grabs for me because Nowaski's probably a better defender at that position. If you had to pick someone to back up Barnes just purely off playing defense, he'd probably be a thing. But you can't forget that obviously Pittman between the start of the regime and the start of last year, he played the most special teams snaps of any player on the roster. This is a guy who does special teams. So it'd be an interesting battle to see, can he show enough on defense in these games to knock Nowaski off the roster and vice versa? Can Nowaski show enough special teams to potentially knock Pittman off for that? So, the sort of traditional off-ball roles are pretty set. We'd probably take Cunningham to back up these roles. Who can win that backup Sam role? Because someone's got to rotate with Barnes as well. If he gets hurt, he needs a few plays off because he's having to play a bit of will or whatever. We need someone who can do that role because it's so fundamental to how we play our defense. We saw what happened last year when we lost him. We suddenly had to switch to more nickel looks, more dime looks to make up for him. So we need a true backup there. So that's what I'm really looking at.
Yeah, I think it's the situation where we take 3 out of 4 of Stewart, Nowaski, Cunningham, and Pittman. And I think it's going to be Stewart, Cunningham, and Nowaski. But let's see. That's it. That's all I have. I don't think Ezekiel Turner's going to make it. I don't think he showed enough last year. He had a flash or two and otherwise was actually kind of poor. Still surprised he's here. Anyway, let's have a look at corners and nickel. We've got Terry and Arnold, DJ Reader, Meek Robertson, Ennis Rakestraw, Khalil Dorsey injured, Avonte Maddox, although maybe safety. I'll leave him out for safety. We've got Rocky Sin and Tyson Russell and DiCaprio Bootle and Nick Whiteside, who's just joined us. Ash, what do you think?
Yeah, so for purposes, I have put for my article, Maddox as mostly a safety for this argument, but he will probably be the starter in the nickel right now. But the player that I'm definitely looking at, and probably still, and everyone answers here, if he's healthy and he's able to play, what does Rakestraw look like on the outside? Just actually seeing him game reps because we've got to remember, I know last year he was supposed to take over in the nickel before he got his injury, and this preseason has been repping mostly out, if not all, outside corner. What does that look like? Because we know we need that depth, and if he can be that as a second rounder, be the kind of first man off the bench that Mick Robertson was for us last year, that means Rocky Sin's pushed down. That means Khalil Dorsey, when he's healthy, he's then cornerback 6. he could just purely be that best gunner in the league, which is he doesn't have to worry so much about being, oh God, there's an injury, so now I have to go and play defense as well. So it's Rakestraw that I'm really looking at here, and then maybe the nickel battle behind Maddox, behind Maddox and Robertson, because Maddox I'm expecting to play safety, as I'll discuss in a minute, and then Robertson I'm hoping will be a starter, so won't be played. So what does Norris look like there? What does Strickland look like there? What does Hallett look like there if he plays there? Whoever plays that nickel role, what do they look like? Because that might be a key between who stays between Maurice Norris and Lawrence Strickland, who looks better in the slot.
And
yeah, it's an interesting one because again, you've got a lot of guys penciled in. I would also play Rakestraw a lot. He's now got to beat the injury concern tag. He's already had 2 knocks this camp. And we can't afford for it. It's going to be a case of, either you get through this or we're going to break you. Because again, my patience for the injured players is wearing very thin, and we need him to be healthy this year. So, show me you can do it. Play preseason, play a lot of preseason, get some good reps behind you. Because again, I don't think you're going to force that nickel spot out of Amik's hands right now. So can you do something on the outside to earn yourself some more reps? Get that versatility going. I want to see you do well. So I'd play Rakestraw a lot. And then outside that, you're looking at, again, a lot of the depth guys fighting for roster spots here. But Rakestraw's the very intriguing one. He needs to play a lot. The team really need to test him out and test that durability going into the season. Can't afford for him to take another knock again. So, yeah, corner's fine. It's safety that I'm much more interested in, to be fair, when it comes to all this. That's shaping up to be a very interesting battle.
this is the one that has me having the most question marks, just because it's got some interesting names, but it has a lot in pen in terms of who's coming or not. So yeah, the guys have hit the nail on the head there. Ennis Rakestraw is the real key. How does he look? Everything else, we'll wait and see. Safeties: Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph, Maurice Norris, Dan Jackson, Lawrence Strickland, Eric Hallett, Ian Kennelly, Avonte Maddox. And first up on this last one, what do you think?
I mean, it's probably one of the most intriguing battles out there. It depends first off where they classify Maddox and what they take him as. Are they going to take him as a depth corner? Or are they going to take him as the third safety? That kind of answers a lot to this, but let's just say for argument's sake that he's going to take safety 3, I guess, in this scenario. Then, you got Branch, Joseph, and Maddox. Who's going to be the guy after that? And at the minute, everyone that's making noise are the undrafted free agents, really, here. I want to see Kennelly get a lot of time here. Hallett, they're trying to cross-train at cornerback. I'm going to be interested to see if they try and play him at corner some here, especially if there's a lot of the starters not going to see the field. What are they going to do with him? But I really want to see those two get a good drop at this. And then obviously, Strickland has been on the roster. He's played for us in parts. You want to see him get another shot to get on the roster as well. And then there's Dan Jackson as well. And Christ, no one's heard anything about him, really, in the grand scheme of things. Like, if you're going to talk about not taking a draft pick with you this year, he's obviously the one in the most danger at this moment in time, and he needs to probably play every rep to try and put these young upstarts away, because we've seen in the past, especially with the DBs, the young ones, the undrafted free agent ones, they're the ones you can get production out of, the one who can come up and shake up your roster in those spots there. So I want to see a clean, fair competition. I don't want to see no bias towards the draft pick. I want to see the UDFAs given their shot. I mean, maybe I don't know. I don't know if Maddox has anything to prove either there. Maybe you see him for a little bit, possibly, just see what they do with him. But yeah, Kennelly, Strickland, these are the guys you're looking at, really. I want to see one of them break the glass ceiling and potentially knock Dan Jackson off the roster if he doesn't do his job. So I know it sounds silly at safety 4, but these are the spots that matter. And you do feel like if you're going to find a game changer at a low depth position, potentially someone who could come in and do a better than expected job at the end of the year, it's going to be one of these safeties if they're needed and called upon. If Branch has to move out and do another job and Maddox doesn't do it, so I'm really looking forward to it. This is where all the outsiders and dark horses are, and I like outsiders and dark horses.
Ash.
Yeah, I pretty much agree. Like Maddox, we know what he is. He'll be able to back up both safety positions, be as not backup. So he's a bench backup. I'm looking for someone to be that Kirby backup that Brandon Joseph was for us a couple of years before, decided to have a drink and not get an Uber. So I am looking at Dan Jackson and looking at Ian Kennelly, who can win that if they can win the position battle for safety 4, because that stands us in the best stead for this season, because if anything, God forbid, if anything happens to Kirby injury-wise, them two, in terms of their skill sets and the position they play, are the best backups for him. Maddox, while he can maybe do a job there, he's a jack of all trades. I want someone that can just purely be that single high ball hawk that he is. But if it's not them two, I want to see, can Norris be it, who can win it and sort of be the best of those jack of all trades kind of things. And then you have to trust Maddox and them to back up both roles. So for me, it is Jackson versus Kennelly, but I won't be surprised if it turns out in a couple of weeks we are looking at Norris versus Strickland for that safety 4 position.
Yeah, that's the battle, I think. I hope for Ian Kennelly. I really do. I don't think Dan Jackson will make it. Frankly, I don't think he's going to be for the roster. We shall see. But it's one of the first times I'm actually tipping draft picks not making it. Like, seriously, I don't think he'll make it. Whereas I think the others all, I would say, I consider favourites to make it in this crop. But Jackson just looks like he has so much competition, and all I've heard about him is he still looks like he's a bit all at sea when it comes to reading the play and actually tackling. So, yeah. Just on other bits and pieces, haven't heard about much from Fox, but it looks like Bates is hitting 63, 64 yarders in the rain with room to spare. So, watch out, NFL record this season, potentially, for him. That's pretty much it, I think. Boys, have you got anything else in terms of this roster? Anything else from preseason you're looking forward to? Anything about coaching or anything like that? I think John Morton announced at his most recent press conference he wants to call plays from the booth instead of being down on the field. Says he likes being isolated from it all, which I kind of low-key don't like. Any other little tidbits before we kind of start closing things out here?
I agree with you on the Morton take. Like, I get his reasoning. He says he likes to see it all and sort of have that big picture view. But yeah, I think he is missing out on the kind of heat of the moment stuff. So being able to talk to his players directly. So let's say I don't know, Monty's having a really, really good game, but you can see it's like take a 25 carries. If he's up in the booth, you can't really go to him when he's on the sideline and be like, can you still take carries, or do you want me to lighten your load a bit? It's going to have to go through like a patchwork of communication, which will slow things down. The other thing is, I have to live up to our pod's reputation here, but some of the special team stuff, I know obviously the main guys, that sort of three, are all locked in, but who looks good at gunners? So I know Dominic Lovett and Tesla are one pairing that looks good. Yeah, Rocky Sin and Devontae Maddox been another one in camp that's looked good. Who can win those jobs? And then the sort of kick return job, I know the punt return job is 100% Khalif Raymond's. So I'll still be watching that just in case, we need to see someone that can back him up if something happens to Leaf. But I want to see who wins that kick return job, because especially with the new changes to the rules that are supposed to promote more returns, have moved all this stuff forward. We hopefully will see more returns rather than touchbacks. It's going to be a vital role, because sometimes having a returner who can get you to the 40-yard line instead of the 10-yard line, the 30-yard line. So it's an extra 10 yards of field position. It's a whole new one less down you have to get to get the touchdown. So that might be the key between winning and losing the game. So when it's very, very minute little things, those little tiny special teams battles, I'll still be keeping an eye out, because they're the kind of sicko stuff that I like.
I don't know. I don't mind if Morton wants to sit in the box. I don't really mind. A lot of OCs do that. like the Bills one for years has done it, and they've not done bad with Josh Allen there. But I mean, you look at who you've got on the sideline. You've got Scotty Montgomery down there. You've got Hank down there. You're not short somebody to be your field general down there in your place while you sit and watch. Like I do like that because again he will be able to see more stuff from up there. I know you've got your pads and everything, but I don't mind if he's going to do it. To be fair, like I say, I trust his guys on the sideline. There's going to be someone there to kind of hold it down. And obviously it's different to what we've done so far, but we'll see how it works. Outside of that, no, not a lot else really. Gone through most of it, so it's just going to be nice to see this get into gear, but it's a big preseason for us. There's a lot of we've got a lot of worries on this team. The depth on the offensive line's not set. The depth on the edge position's not set. Like there's places where we need guys to stand up and really plug some holes for us going into this season. And I like having the 4 games because for guys like Kennelly and stuff like that, that's just a ton of reps. That's so many reps you can send them out there and do stuff when you can get so much data on these guys, and hopefully we'll be able to use it to make them critical decisions when it comes down to the end, especially with the safety groups, the offensive linemen, the quarterback potentially as well. We're going to have a ton of data to work with, and I think it'll be a good thing for us. So I'm kind of happy that we've got the 4 games, and yeah, just looking forward to seeing it. Don't care what sort of ball it is, as long as it's Lions. We do not mind.
All right, let's go quick fire on the questions that we've been asked during the show, and I mean quick fire. Mike the Marine asks, what is your current win-loss record prediction?
11-6.
I was in the same ballpark. Screw it, I'll go 12-5 and be a little more.
I'm the same as my prediction last year, 14-3. I feel good about being optimistic last year, and I feel good about it again. Contrapastan says, I think better team, worse record is a reasonable expectation for us this year. Worst team, worse record is definitely in the range of outcomes for Minnesota, whilst worst team, better record might be possible for Tampa Bay. How do you think this framing fits? Are there other teams that stand out looking through this lens? I mean, I think you guys have both gone for better team, worse record for us. Do you agree about the Vikings' worst team, worst record, and the Tampa Bay worst team, better record? And then are there any other kind of teams you quite like that framing for?
I half disagree with the Tampa Bay worst team, better record bit, because I think with Mike Evans coming back off his injury, Chris Godwin looking to be back soon, and then them adding Ibuka to that wide receiver room, and then Bucky Irving having another year of running back, they'll be the same, if not slightly better. So I think a worse team, better record might be someone. But I'm trying to think now. I won't be able to think one off the top of my head, but there's definitely teams for that.
Houston Texans.
Yes, that's a good shout.
They have regressed in terms of personnel, I think, but I think with the weakness in that division, they could have a better record.
Yes. You know what? I'll say the same. Indianapolis Colts as well. I think overall to be a worse team, but just have it. And as much as I don't like Daniel Jones as a QB, I think he's more of a stabilizing factor than Richardson, so they might win a few more games.
I've just learned never to underestimate Tampa. Don't ever claim they're going to be a worse team because they'll bite you in the ass. That's like betting against us. So, they've just got incredibly good coaching there. And they've got a team that's got the same mentality as we do, and a quarterback who has the same mentality as ours. So, I think they're still going to be a good team. Plus, they're in a crap division.
I've got one. I've got one
better.
I've got one that's the most obvious in terms of worst team, better record. San Francisco.
Yeah,
too obvious.
Too obvious. Yeah, true.
Because they clearly have regressed in terms of personnel. It's not even that good a team anymore, I don't think. But they did so badly.
I don't think they're going to be that good, to be fair.
Yeah, but they don't have to be because it was so bad last year, in part. That
yeah. Like, oh my god.
If they win 8, how many games did they win last year? Was it 5? Something? I don't know.
I think they'd struggle for bowl eligibility this year, to be fair. So.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be tough.
How did I not think of that when the conversation about them is that Isaiah Nia is going to be their wide receiver 3 going into the season?
What was their regular season record? 6-11. Seriously, if they have to win 7 games to be a better record, then that should be achievable, even if they are significantly worse. Still got Fred Warner, still got George Kittle. There's going to be life to that team. The Seattle Seahawks have got so much worse, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens with them.
I think the Panthers are going to be a better team.
Yeah,
I back that regime fully in what they're doing, and again, they're in a garbage conference.
Feels like they're building it in the right way.
Yeah, and I think Bryce has now started to hit his stride and will come into this year with a bucket load of confidence, and they've invested around him. So
yeah, proper wide receiver 1 now. Like some of the clips have come out of Tet in their camp. I'm just like,
could have been.
God, we were right. Exactly. What could have been? We were so right when we were saying he's the best receiver in this draft class.
I'll tell you what, there are very few players outside of the lines I'm really pulling for, but Bryce is definitely one of them, just because it feels like everyone gave up on him, and a lot of people were out on him in the draft process. It would be such a sweet thing to be right on that. A couple of other quick fire questions, or a few. Mike the Marine again, where does our defensive line look like with Philly's tush push? Where's the beef? Lol. I genuinely think we might be one of the best teams against the tush push.
Yeah. Tyleek DJ Reader as defensive tackles, and then you can have Pat O'Connor and Aiden as your defensive ends, and then you have Anzalone, Campbell close to the line.
And do you agree? I think we'd be pretty good against the tush push.
I don't really know how we've defended it in the past.
Not well.
I don't know whether it's been.
We're not good against
I don't think many teams are good against the tush push. I just think it's a very tough thing to defend. I don't know if there's a team that's actually good at it. Otherwise, everyone would have copied that formula by now. I think it's still an anomaly.
Fair. Perry Ball says, Ash, Matt, and Anthony, do you guys think we can trade anyone instead of cutting them? So, instead of looking at the guys who aren't going to make the roster, what about some of those that will make the roster? Do you think anyone has any sort of significant trade value?
I think we mentioned it once before. The only possibility you'd have of trading someone is if Rakestraw stole the nickel job off Meek. And then I think you try and trade a Meek. But I don't think that's going to happen. Outside of that, you don't really have anyone who you trading on the offensive line? I trade an offensive line, but I'm not trading. There's no depth running backs, no depth. If Tesla does really well, and then you've got potentially, you get a returner in there. Maybe Khalif's on someone will rent for Khalif. I doubt it, but I think realistically, the answer is no. There's no one with significant trade value who you can trade off this team. We would need them here.
Yeah, I pretty much exactly agree with me and you spoke. Like, if every week we were on together, it's pretty much us saying, yeah, Meek Robinson might be a trade piece come the trade deadline. The only one in you really close saying it, yeah, it came to me just, if Tesla just looks insane at the X in preseason, I noticed the clips coming out of him looking good, but if he shows it in game time, there might be a wide receiver needy team like the 49ers that will give us, it will not be nothing more than a conditional day 3 pick for sure, but something like that just to get him on their team, just to give them a bit of extra stability, because you look at, as I said, you look at the depth chart right now, some of the reports out, San Francisco.
Yeah, which player?
Tim Patrick.
Okay, you didn't say the player, which is great.
Sorry.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about Patrick. I don't think it'd have to be a conditional pick. I think it could be something like a 6th, maybe.
Yeah, just something like it would be something like that. But yeah, just him, because that's the situation. I think it's veterans who they would need their rookie behind them to really show out, but it's in the range of possibilities that it could happen. I think that's
So the few players I had. Patrick for a 6th. I say this one with the biggest pinch of salt because these guys know how much of a fan of this player I am, and I hate saying it.
Oh my God, he's going to trade Hogan Hatton.
No, my jersey.
Brock Wright, I think you would
Yeah.
consider if Zylstra continues to impress and Yeboah has a good camp, then Wright at his contract level, and given that he was wanted by San Francisco, you maybe get a higher day 3 pick for him.
He's on his last year of his deal as well. So
Yeah, maybe get a 5th.
I'm going to say that Brock Wright doesn't work on any other team in the NFL bar the Lions. I think he's very specifically someone for us. I don't know if he's got...
I mean, considering
unless one of the old OC
sheet,
unless one of them took but years ago now. I don't know whether they'd do it again. Maybe, but
Jets.
But an offer sheet's not trading, so
yeah.
Just for the record.
Looking through the rest of it, I really don't see anyone on defense worth anything that you want to keep. Anyone that you want to keep, you want because they're going to be a massive piece. The only other one is the insane possibility that JMO gets the King's ransom, which is just not realistic right now.
No.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying that if he got like 2 1s plus,
I will literally be sat here crying, listening to "In the Arms of an Angel" if we do that, and I will just be screwed completely.
As long as we can live stream it, that's fine.
Oh, what? Live stream Anthony's misery?
Yes.
That's a bit sadistic.
Well, that's the tagline of the show.
I'm just wallowing in my misery. I know it is. Sadist.
Love you, man. Right. Oh, God, we weren't through yet. Were we? One more question. Brent DeWitt, worst case scenario, Morton is another Lynn. How long before Dan Campbell takes over?
Same amount of time Lynn got. Which I assume about goes in with the bye. What was it, week 8?
Yeah.
I think it was week 8 that Lynn got removed. You're in a Super Bowl window now, so I think the leash is going to be shorter with these guys, especially Morton. What's kind of been there, done that. I think Kelvin will get more leash, but I think Morton will be gone by the bye if he's not doing well, and this thing falls apart.
I think we're all in agreement there. Ash, just nod if you're in agreement. Okay, good. Apologies for the dog in the background for Ash. Damien Smith has a very cheeky question to finish, and my response to this is the Pope Catholic? And the question is, does Tom Kennedy make the practice squad?
Yeah, probably.
Who's going to be brave enough to say no?
Tom Kennedy will be on this practice squad at 60 years old because, damn it, he's still that 10th best player we have.
See, it's more of a hot take than I'm all on board the Jahmyr Gibbs and Jameson Williams train this year. No shit, Sherlock. 1,500 and 1,000 yards last year, and you're on the train for them doing well. This is more of a hot take than that. So, I hate these people. They're just like, I'm on this train. They're already there. You're entering the train when it's in the station and going, look at me, I'm on the train. It's cheating. I swear JMO gets such a bad rap because most of them gave up on him and now they're all trying to find ways to justify their gone-offness of him by saying, it was a bit slow, all that and that, but no. Betting on Tom Kennedy not making the practice squad is a true, hot take. Come at me with this weak stuff.
Experiment subscribes at tier 1 for his 33rd month on Twitch. Appreciate you, man. Thank you very much. Says, hell no, TK. His time has come. And Grandizer reminds me that I've missed a question. Apologies, Grandizer. You ask several. I try and address all of them. Says, with the players that you are, in quotes, done with, seen enough and ready to move on, end quote, do they at least deserve to be put on the Lions practice squad if they can reach there? I'm just trying to think who I was particularly blunt with. The big one that sticks out is Broderick Martin. No.
Davenport, done with, wouldn't even give him a practice. I'm consistent in my doneness. If you're done in the first team, you're done altogether. Because if you say in practice squad, you're saying that there's still a chance in the metaphorical sense, and you're betraying yourself there. So if I'm done with them, I'm done with them, full stop. There's no coming back from that.
It depends whether you're done with them or whether it's just they're missing out because of numbers and you're still hopeful. And with Broderick, I'm done. And so
I wouldn't call them I'm done players though if they're missing out because the roster's dropped strong. It's not I'm done with them.
That's
just
what I'm saying. There's a difference. If you are done with them, you're done with them. And if they're missing out because of numbers, then you want to keep them. And that is kind of the argument. So yeah,
just players we don't like. If you don't like them, then no. I'm very consistent in my criticism. You're done. You're done.
A fluffy question to finish. Ash, you've been asked what kind of dog you have.
I actually have two. So I have the one that was barking a lot was Lola, who is my 14-year-old Cocker Spaniel now. She is an old little madam, which is why she was barking, because she wanted me to let her out. And then the one that you can keep see jumping up in the background and is now currently sniffing the sofa is our 2-year-old. I think she's a Springer Spaniel called Freya, which is not spelled right. It's spelled the Anglicized way and not the Nordic way. So I will be fixing that at Christmas. I will be getting her a dog tag that has it spelled properly in the Nordic runes. But yeah, she's a little so-and-so. So she's the one you've probably seen me looking at her to the side every so often. It's because she's doing something naughty.
All right, and with that, we're going to come to a close. Next episode, College Football Podcast, Wednesday. And remind us again what you're doing.
We're revealing our preseason watch list teams. So these are the 22 players who we really, really like and you do really need to keep a close eye on this year. They're the guys who end up in our mock drafts generally, bar anything bad happening with them. So yeah, we'll be revealing those teams on Wednesday.
Hall of Fame game is on Thursday. Me and Ash and maybe Ant will make an appearance too. We'll be live 15 minutes before kickoff, so about 7:45 Eastern time. That is 12:45 in the morning in the UK. Hope to see you there with us on the call. And then we will be recapping that game on Monday next week, along with some more training camp chat. You know where to find us on our socials. I won't bore you with it. Guys, in the chat, thank you so much for your questions and all of your activity, and they're much appreciated. A special shout out to those guys who have subscribed, and another massive shout out and thank you to our guy Mike the Marine, who subscribed, gave us a super chat for $50. That really, was absolutely incredible. Thank you to the guys, to Ant and Ash. This has been great. It's another long show for us. And I know we've been trying to go shorter, but this has been awesome. Appreciate you all. We'll speak to you for the college show on Wednesday. But for now, football's back, baby. Let's go, Lions. One Pride.
One Pride.
Recording stopped.